I would say one of the most common symptoms that I hear over and over again when I'm meeting with women who are interested in coming into the program is they need help with gas and bloating. I can so relate to this. I had gas and bloating for as long as I could remember. I didn't know gas and bloating was kind of stage 1 in the Ayurvedic disease process, but it makes sense when you realize that if you are experiencing any gas or bloating, or for heartburn, some, but in this video we're just going to focus on the gas and bloating. If you experience gas and bloating after you eat, it's just a direct sign that you're not digesting your food anymore. So you may be digesting part of your meal, but even if you're eating healthy, a lot of women are still suffering from the gas and the bloating. And I know from experience how frustrating it is because you're trying to think, well, was it something that I ate? I ate that food yesterday and I was fine, and today it's not. And it can just leave you going around and around in circles of trying to figure out why you have gas and bloating. You've probably tried many different ways of eating too, or eliminating a whole bunch of foods. But the reality is our digestion gets weaker over time unless we have the tools and the practices to keep it strong, to keep our microbiome healthy. So I wanted to go over in this video just a few of the main reasons why you may be experiencing gas and bloating. Number 1 is you're eating too quickly. I've gone over this before in other videos. I used to eat so fast. It was so hard for me to slow down, but it made a big difference once I started slowing down. Along with that, chew your food. I used to, again, just be someone who would take a few bites and then swallow it. My poor stomach would be left to do all the digestive work. Your digestion starts in your mouth with your saliva. There's enzymes in your mouth that aren't in your stomach that aid the digestive process, and you will definitely notice some reduced bloating and gas if you can chew your food. So is there a magic number of how many times to chew? You'll see 20, 30, 40 times, and maybe in the beginning you actually do need to count how many times you're chewing your food. I definitely did. It felt like I was chewing each bite for an hour. It was torturous. But over time, it just became normal to make sure that before I swallowed my food, it was well chewed and it was almost like liquid in my mouth so that the rest of the process would be much more efficient. Another thing that causes gas and bloating is drinking a lot of water before, during, or after meals. Your stomach is a very acidic environment and it needs to be acidic in order to break down and assimilate all the nutrients from your food. If you're drinking so much water before, during, and after, which I used to do, you're literally just diluting that whole perfect environment for digestion. You're just making your digestion weaker. So cut down on the liquids before, during, and after your meal. And the last thing I'm going to mention, and this is a hard one for people, is don't eat when you're in a state of stress. So much easier said than done. I remember my Ayurvedic teacher, the first time I heard this, he was teaching us that never eat when you're stressed. I remember thinking, but I'm always stressed. When am I supposed to eat? I'm going to starve if I can't eat when I'm stressed. This was a real eye-opener for me, though, to make me realize I was in a state of stress and worry and fear most of my waking day. No wonder I couldn't digest my food. No wonder I felt gas and bloating after every single meal. So once I really started to pay attention more on not so much improving my digestion, just reducing the stress, especially around mealtime, I noticed a big difference in how I felt after I finished my meal. One thing that you can do, 2 practical things, I'll share 2 practical things that you can do, is before you start eating, just close your eyes. I know you're hungry, but close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths before you start eating. It will feel like you've been asked to wait an hour before you can start taking a bite. That's how I felt, was I just wanted to eat. But I noticed over time that if I really tried to just calm my nervous system before I started eating, instead of just like, here we go, I felt better after I ate and during. I didn't eat so fast. I was more appreciative, more grateful for the food in front of me. Now, if you are experiencing any bloating after a meal or gas, there is one beautiful ingredient that is well known in Ayurveda to help relieve the gas. Fennel. And it tastes good. That's why you'll see in some Indian restaurants at the counter where you're paying for your restaurant meal that they'll have little candy coated fennel seeds. Of course, the candy coated tastes really good too, but you don't need the coating on that. You can just choose some fennel seeds. Typically, if you're having gas or bloating, you can take 1/4 to a 1/2 teaspoon of fennel seeds. You literally just put them in your mouth, and it takes some jaw power to chew it, but you chew it and chew it and chew it until it's liquid, and that fennel juice basically calms the digestive system and helps to relieve gas. So that's a really good, just practical thing you can do if you are experiencing it. But the other things I mentioned, those are more the preventative things, and that's where you'll find the most relief if you start practicing those.